That's very funny.
Uh, you cannot minimize while you were recording this meeting. Okay, I didn't
Oh.
realize that audio
Ah.
recording effect was affected by minimizing. Uh,
Yeah, weird.
Hello and welcome to the Real Horror Show podcast. I'm your host Samantha.
And
Old intro. Welcome to Real Horror Show, a horror movie review podcast where we review horror movies from Netflix, Hulu, Shudder, and everything in between. I'm your host Sam Odie.
and I am your co-host, Stormy Skies.
Welcome to our podcast. Today we will be reviewing Saw 5, which is a 2008 horror film directed by David Hackle in his directorial debut from a screenplay written by Patrick Melton, Marcus Dunstan. It is the fifth installment in the Saw film franchise and a sequel to 2007's Saw 4. The film stars Tobin Bell, Costas Mandylor, Scott Patterson, Betsy Russell, Mark Rolston, Julie Benz, Carlo Rota, and Megan Good. The plot follows Agent Strahm investigating the murders committed by the Jigsaw killer, but as he delves deeper into the case, he realizes that the murders are a part of a larger, more intricate plot. Meanwhile, Jigsaw's accomplice, Mark Hoffman, has been promoted to lieutenant and is tasked with leading the investigation into the Jigsaw murders. However, as Strahm gets closer to the truth, he becomes the target of Jigsaw's traps.
Oh,
And
dang.
this is how we like to break it down: characters slash acting, story and writing, and follow all that up with production notes. And then we like to discuss the real horrors this movie addresses. Sometimes they're serious, and sometimes we like to have a little bit of goofy fun. That being said, we are a horror movie podcast, so here is a general trigger warning. We talk about death, blood, guts, and other unsavory topics that might not be suitable for everyone, although we do try to do so with sensitivity. Listeners' discretion is advised. Movies are then rated on a scale of what the fuck did I just watch, which means there are no redeeming qualities to be found. Meh, it's just okay. And oh yeah, that fucked me up, which is what all horror should strive to be. So, let's get started.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Top five.
I had I was staring at the new intro and I just started saying what I used to say is
Yeah,
anyway.
that's okay. That was kind of cool.
Sometimes my brain breaks and it's fine. Um, Off the bat, we finally have resolution for Saw 3. We know what happens to the little girl, and I'm just gonna say that was not the same little girl from Saw 3.
Oh man, it wasn't.
I mean, it's story-wise, it's the same girl, but actress-wise, because it
It's
took us 7 years to get
oh
to the
yeah,
resolution.
totally different girl. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. It was 7 years. She was in there for 7 years. Oh my God.
But
How?
I don't know, I just this one was so much better than Saw 4, which is frustrating because I feel like we wasted an entire movie on nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, what even happened in the last movie, huh? Like, geez, it's
The
like,
only the only things that
right.
mattered were revealing Mark Hoffman as
Uh-huh.
Jigsaw's successor, which you could probably do here.
Yeah,
Killing Rig, again, you could probably do here. And
right.
then killing Detective Matthews, again,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you could fit that in here
Yeah.
because so my issue with Saw 4 after watching this is the writers only cared about the twist. It felt like
Yeah.
they were only trying to write a twist rather than a good story. And because of that, the story of Saw 4 is so unmemorable, in
Hmm.
my humble opinion, because
Agreed.
yeah, you get the Hoffman reveal, but you could have done it in this movie as well, and it probably would have been cooler since the timeline isn't confusing.
Yeah, and you have that beef between him and Strom.
Hmm.
And then like it would be probably a bigger twist because you'd be like, oh no, Strom was right because it is
Yeah.
Hoffman. Darn. Um,
Yeah.
the only thing I remember from four is that there's the autopsy. It's literally like the one standout I do remember is like that's the only thing I can
Hmm.
recall, but it doesn't matter for the rest of the movie, so it doesn't even matter that I remember it.
Yeah.
Does
Is
not
we open
matter.
with yeah, we open with the autopsy, but then it's revealed
That's in the
that
future.
everything after the autopsy is happening before the autopsy, and the events of
Yeah.
Saw 4 are happening at the same time as the events of Saw 3.
Yeah.
And
So I just get confused really
yeah.
easily and I just can't figure out what the fuck is going on. Yeah.
But with the beginning of this movie, we're officially done with Jeff. We never have to talk about Jeff again.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's dead and gone for realsies this time.
We spent 3 movies
Yeah.
somehow tied to the Jeff plotline. It wasn't
Hmm.
as big in this one, but we did get the resolution to the Jeff story. And that poor little girl is probably either going to go live with her grandparents, best case scenario,
Yeah.
or she's going into the foster system.
Yeah, she really like came out like, "Where's my mom?" My dad was like, "They are both dead." I have
Like, this little girl is the most tragic character in the entire Saw franchise.
Yeah, she did not ask for this. This did not need to happen, and now both her parents are dead because of Jeff. Because of Jeff, I'm gonna actually blame it on her father.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And before her parents died, her little brother died, which sent
Oh,
them into a spiral where they were just kind of ignoring her and doing their own shit, which was drinking into oblivion and having affairs on the reg.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then and then because Jeff couldn't stop for 2 seconds and listen to Jigsaw, his wife is dead and now their little girl is orphaned. So I'm glad that worked out for Jeff. I'm glad he got his revenge.
Yeah, I am too. And like the only thing that Strahm did well was just he shot that guy and he didn't even like take a pause to shoot him. So he
Yeah.
got him. And I was like, all right, well that's okay. Well, Jeff
Yeah,
is finally gone. Thanks,
if
Strahm.
I was Strahm, I'd also just shoot Jeff.
And they like did a like a they showed that scene again in this movie and I was like, oh yeah, he like shoots him real fast. What is it? And he says like, hey man, put your hands up, and he doesn't, so of course you have to shoot him
Yeah,
because he's dead,
because
of
at this
course.
point you don't know who Jigsaw is.
Oh
You just
damn,
see you just see like
yeah.
5 bodies and a guy standing there with a buzz saw, and it's
I
like,
know.
hey, put your hands up.
Yeah, and he still wouldn't do it. Like this dude's obviously like an authority guy. But no. So yeah. Okay, so that's good then. So Jeff, we
Yeah.
can finally close the book on him. Still doesn't mean anything at all. Is not important whatsoever. And Hoffman is the big hero because he already knew where the girl was and he carried her out in like a blanket. And I was like, oh wow, big hero. Big hero
Yeah.
time. So
And that's why I think had we just like skipped Saw 4, like that entire non-story, and
uh-huh.
gone to
Yeah.
this,
Right.
kind of combine the two somehow, you would have had a much more impactful twist with Hoffman
Yeah.
being the next Jigsaw,
Hmm.
because you have one guy who thinks it and you can still like get that mystery because he goes through the wall and the pig attacks him and puts him in the trap, and then next thing you see is Hoffman saving the little girl, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, what just happened?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like like you could even sneak in the doctor lady, but you actually don't have to. Like
Hmm.
because we don't need to like establish a whole new doctor that refused to give him like surgery
Yeah.
just to tie in her husband. They just so happen to have this tragic backstory and like but that story feels so separated from like what's going on in
Hmm.
Jigsaw's life and the police that like it doesn't matter compared to this
Exactly.
story. The story's so much better, you're right.
Just
Yeah.
I still, we're gonna be like at Saw 10 and I'm still gonna be bitching about how we wasted Jigsaw's death with a nothing
Yeah,
character named Jeff.
I know. It really is a shame.
And at this point, we have invested 2 movies into this Jeff plotline. Jeff is nothing. He doesn't mean anything to the franchise. It should have been like Detective Carey, Rig,
Yeah,
any of the detectives we've established in the first 2 movies being the ones to take out Jigsaw, because who the fuck is Jeff?
I
And I'm not going to
know.
stop bitching about it.
Yeah, I feel like all the detectives and the police, like that's all in like the Jigsaw realm and they're all connected. And so
Hmm.
it would make more sense to keep them around and not just like kill them off because like you have to show that Amanda's traps are unwinnable. You're like, whatever, like Hoffman's traps
Hmm.
are unwinnable. Like, nah, like let them do something important. And yeah, you're right. The death is pretty much wasted with
Yeah.
Jeff. Just sucks. So sad.
Yeah. So I guess let's go ahead and get into acting. We
Okay.
have most of the same players from the previous movie. The only newcomers are the people
Like
in the
long
escape
hallway.
room, which I'll get to
Yeah.
that because I did really like the trap setup in this one.
Mhm. Yeah, it was
So
cool.
those are the only new players. We had Mark Hoffman return, Tobin Bell return. Uh, Amanda didn't return. We saw like I body doubles for a lot of the characters in flashbacks.
Yeah, and then Strahm was the only like major
Yeah,
one.
Strahm's the major one returning and actually like a plot driven character this time.
Yeah.
You can argue he was in Saw 4, but really he was just there to see what Rig did earlier that day. He's
Yeah.
he's just following someone else's path and it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, he just kind of like rolls up in four to like bother everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone's like annoyed by him. He's like,
Yeah.
we're taking over. We're the FBI. We're taking over now. Sorry.
But now they really gave Scott Patterson something to bite into, which is
Yeah.
I know it's fucking Hoffman. I'm gonna prove it's Hoffman by
Yeah.
being the sketchiest motherfucker ever.
Yeah, right. I know. He really like does some suspect things, doesn't he? Doesn't
Yeah,
help him at all.
he's like, I'm gonna harass Jigsaw's wife. I'm gonna break in and steal document files, even though I could just like probably be honest with my boss.
Right. And then he is gonna tell Hoffman straight to his face he thinks it's him.
Hmm.
Like, the fuck are you thinking? Now he's on to you.
Like, I would never do
No.
that. Like
No.
He's already got a target on his back because Hoffman knows he's alive, so why would you
Ugh, yeah.
tell Hoffman, I'm gonna prove it's you?
Yeah,
Why would you
right?
tell the Jigsaw killer?
Yeah, why would you, if you know that he's the bad guy, why would you tell the bad guy, like, hey, I'm gonna get you, man?
Yeah.
And then, like, what do you think he's gonna do? Like, be like, oh, okay, okay, like, yeah, you got me, cool, 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 yeah, like,
He's
it's
gonna
cool, I'm
say,
gonna tell.
yeah, you're good, bro.
Yeah, like, you got me. No, he's gonna
And
fucking fuck you up.
and I don't know if this is a performance choice of I'm guessing Costas. I'm guessing that's the actor. I don't have their pictures, I just have their IMDb's
Yeah.
as Mark Hoffman. To constantly be have like a subtle pout on his lips, or if he just has very pouty lips naturally.
He is just, I don't know if that is like he wants to look extra beautiful all the time with his luscious lips, or if that's just how he looks. I really don't know, Sam. That's a great point because they're always super pouty. I'm like, wow, look at his mouth. It's like so
Like
nice.
as I was watching this, all I could think about were Hoffman's pouty lips. And like,
Pouty lips.
is he just serving in every scene?
I know. I'm like looking at this still of him. I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't know if that's just he just like looks good like that, or yeah, or if he's just doing it on purpose. Who can say? We'll have to look at
Yeah.
pictures of him on like the red carpet or something. But then, like, what if he's doing it there too?
Yeah. We're just gonna have to like follow him in real life to see
Yeah,
what he's like without the cameras.
yeah, yeah. That would be good. Just like Strom, of
Yeah.
course. Because that if
Yeah.
the FBI does it, I mean, that means it's okay.
Yeah. I'm feeling so inspired
Yeah,
to stalk mock Mark Hoffman,
Mark Hoffman. Oh
thanks
yeah.
to Scott Patterson of Gilmore Girls fame. Uh,
Gilmore Girls. That's so funny.
and as for the performances in the traps with the this movie's victims,
Yeah.
um, I quite liked the Junkie's performance. I thought he gave a very compelling, real performance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the British guy, he was like the perfect asshole.
I know. It's so funny that he was British.
It's like, oh, you know why everybody's here? Just fucking say it, bro.
I know, bro. Just say it. And he's like, I'm an investigative journalist from the Herald. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
How did they get you? I still don't know like what exactly was tying them all together. And like I don't know if I like had left the room when it was
Hmm.
like discussed. Um, but like the building that and like this is jumping ahead, but like Sam, like can you do you like know like the building with the people that died in it? Like was the building important? Like I don't know.
So what I gathered is it was just
Yeah.
shady real estate, and
Gotcha.
a company bought this building. but they were squatters in it. And
Oh.
they're probably in like New York City or something where there are strong squatter laws where if someone is squatting in a building for like 30 days, you cannot legally kick them out. There's a lot of hoops you need to jump through.
Okay.
Um, and so they came up with this sketchy plan to send a junkie there and have him start the fire, which would either get them out of the building or kill them. And I don't think they intended to kill them, but they
Yeah.
definitely knew the squatters were there, and that's why they sent him to do it.
Gotcha. Excellent. Okay. I just always think that like whenever they explain something, they're like, yeah, this building, it's Jigsaw's building, So I'm just waiting for that, but like it didn't happen. So I'm like, okay, so the building, like
Yeah,
it's just they were just trying to get the building. Okay.
yeah,
No
for
problem.
shady real estate deal.
Shady real estate.
Um,
Okay. Gotcha.
as for the British guy, I can't remember what his role in that whole situation was, but
Yeah.
he's just the asshole in the story.
Yeah.
Because getting into story, these five people wake up in one of Jigsaw's traps, and the British guy is into it. He knows what it is right away, and he's like, we can't start the timer until we fully assess what this situation is. Otherwise, we're going to get decapitated.
Smart.
And
Yeah.
he assesses the situation. However, as we later find out, he assesses it incorrectly, and this carries on throughout the next set of traps
Yeah.
because the twist of their section is, in fact, I think it's the only real twist of the movie,
Yeah.
is the traps were designed for them to work together
Mhm.
so that when they got to the last one, each person only had to give 2 pints of blood to
Mhm.
open the door. They didn't have to like cut their entire arm down the middle, really just probably their hand.
Yeah.
It's still not
Shit.
good, but it
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be what it ended up being. So the British
Yeah.
guy realizes there are keys they need, but he doesn't stop to think, well, what if one key opens all of these locks? Which the final girl realizes at the end of the traps is that
Mhm.
they were supposed to work together. And I really like this concept too. It's still my favorite in the franchise thus far.
Yeah, it's different. All five
Yeah.
could have lived.
Yeah, all five could have lived. And where it's kind of hinted at it too that they all could have lived if they worked together. The
Yeah.
traps weren't really designed to have a solution where they work together. Like
Yeah.
they could be done separately
Uh-huh.
without
Yeah.
repercussion. But this was 100% geared towards there are five people and these tests have a solution to be solved if all five of you are working together.
Yeah, like it'll be much easier if all five participate, but
Yeah.
of course they're like freaking out and killing each other and shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
But that was cool and that was different. That hasn't happened before.
yeah, and I liked this trap setup. I think it kind of
Me too.
refined what we saw in two, where
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
just it's an escape room. You got to sit down, think, and work together.
Exactly. Yeah. And not like have
Nobody
a
had to die in
freak out.
this.
No, yeah. But like I feel like the only reason people like died was because like another person killed them. The trap didn't kill them, right? Except for the first girl, her head got cut
Yeah.
off. But like, yeah, they like beat on that guy, the British guy, then the bomb blew him up, and then they
Hmm.
killed the black lady with the hook thing
Yeah.
or whatever. Damn.
Yeah.
So
And outside of the house or wherever they're trapped this time,
yeah.
um, Hoffman knows that Strahm is onto him, so he's preparing his trap for Strahm since he survived the first one, which I need to talk about the first trap Strahm was in
Oh
because
yeah, could that work?
it's
Yeah.
been bothering me. I have asked medical professionals. One thinks it would work. The
Yeah.
other doesn't because the answer is it's improbable, but not necessarily impossible.
Yeah.
Because in that situation, while it is life or death, you have to know how to suck in air, not using your mouth or your nose. And
Yeah.
also the likelihood of giving yourself a trach with a pen, which that is possible. I know in medical emergencies, like sometimes that is what has to be done is you use a pen to create the airway if
Yeah.
someone's throat is closing up. I've seen it in many medical shows that is
Yeah, same.
that is a thing that can
That's the
happen, and
way.
it does work.
Yeah. But
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 I don't know. I
yeah.
feel like he still would have drowned.
Yeah, yeah, like also with that, how long did it take for them to get the cage off his head? Because he
That's
was
the
like
real
out
question.
because he was out the door at the same time that like Mark was. Like Mark
Yeah.
Hoffman's was like, damn, like they like fucking ripped it off his head or something,
Yeah.
didn't
I think
they?
that's the real question is
You
how did they
know?
get that off his head without like drowning him?
Yeah.
Because like okay, so you're holding your nose without holding your nose, you're holding your breath in your mouth, you're sucking in air the way you do in that situation.
Yeah.
But then they're trying to get the thing off your head. So
Yeah. Don't they need to call like people like special like the fire department
yeah,
to like get
I
big
feel like that's a Jaws of
tools?
Life situation. I don't think Hoffman would have just left a key there for them to use.
I know, right? Because that was meant to kill him. That was an unwinnable trap, but it was supposed to like look like a trap that he could have won, but like of course no.
Yeah.
Um Also, could he have done that thing with his throat without like a mirror? I was like, dang dude, like you just must know where you're aiming.
That's true. He also just knows like where it needs to go. I guess it needs to go at the
Just
bottom of your throat. I don't
yeah,
know.
just like the
I don't,
base.
because your throat is like very stiff. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
cartilage right here that you
That
have
would
to
hurt.
get through with a dull pen
Oh
case.
God.
So I don't know.
Ugh.
I'm just saying some things in this franchise are hard to believe.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be tough. Also, I wonder if you know how at the end when they have to like cut their arm with the saw and the dude cuts his like arm like all the way up, like I know that like a lot of blood would be coming out, but like would you get enough blood just from your arm, you think? Like 10 pints? Like I don't I guess that's a
Well, I
lot.
mean, they only needed 5 pints each. And
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean,
so five each.
there are main arteries in your wrist, right? Like that's why,
Yeah, right?
you know,
Yeah. Okay.
trigger warning, suicide. If you're gonna kill yourself, that's why you
Yeah, I
slit your
suppose
wrists
that's
is
true.
the main arteries.
Damn. Okay, well then I guess you would get that much blood. Okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
everything else, I suppose.
And they cut up to their elbows.
Oh my God, I
So
know, Jesus Christ. Ugh.
so yeah, Strahm is hunting down Hoffman. Not hunting down, but just trying to collect enough evidence to prove that Hoffman is taking over Jigsaw's legacy. And in the process, we find out that Hoffman's sister was beaten to death by an
I,
abusive boyfriend.
I totally forgot about all this, and I totally forgot that this was like Mark Hoffman's initiation movie,
Hmm.
which excites me.
And so I think this is probably when I went to the bathroom, but I think what
Yeah,
it was Hoffman killed the abusive boyfriend and made
yeah.
it look like a jigsaw murder.
It
Or
was the
he didn't even
intro
try to
trap. Yeah.
he didn't even try to like make it look like a jigsaw murder. He just like cut the jigsaw piece into the person, and
Yeah.
that pissed off John Kramer, who
Yeah.
finds Hoffman and says, I don't murder. What I do is much different than murder. It's murder, but they have an opportunity to live if they care about their lives.
Yeah. And he was like, your stuff was inferior to mine. Blah, blah, blah. You suck.
Yeah.
He's like, I think that imitation is a form of flattery, but I find it distasteful because your
Yeah.
stuff sucked.
And
I was like,
so
damn.
he has the shotgun at Hoffman's face and is challenging Hoffman to pull the trigger, and Hoffman does, but there's no bullet
Oh, damn.
in the chamber.
Got
So
him.
but that one moment proved to John Kramer that maybe Hoffman has it in him to take over.
That's what it takes to be his second in command because he's so
Yeah.
big,
Yeah.
pouty lips, so
Yeah.
pretty, and he's a cop.
So they start working together, and we find out through these flashbacks that Hoffman's been helping set up these traps since the very beginning. We see
Yeah. All the failed
razor trap
ones.
the razor
Oh,
trap from the first movie.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh
He's the big guy.
God, John Kramer can be insufferable with his philosophy sometimes.
I
You
know,
cu-
he's like
you cut yourself, so I'm gonna make you value your life by making you cut yourself.
he barely cut himself with like the bottle. I think he was just in a bad space at that moment. It was like he was like a suicidal dude for his whole life. I feel like that just
Hmm.
wasn't, I feel like there was just one moment in this man's life. He did not deserve
Hmm.
that, you know?
You play sick from work, so I'm gonna cover you in oil and make you walk on shards of glass.
Yeah.
And here's a candle. Don't set yourself on fire.
Yeah, he's like, you smoked cigarette once. I saw it. So if you love cigarettes so much, I'm gonna turn you into a cigarette. Smoke you. You're like, wow, dude, chill. There's just no one doing bad stuff at the time, Sam.
So we see, John Kramer taking Mark Hoffman under his wing, and Amanda doesn't know that Hoffman is under his wing, but Hoffman knows
Mhm.
Amanda is under his wing, and he's like, "Why are you letting her like lead the
Yeah,
charge on this?" And
she
he's like,
sucks.
She's not going to help them. She's just going to point them in the right direction." And we see
Ah,
them setting up the traps in Saw 2, like the key trap with the gun
done.
and
Yeah.
the
How cool.
and that John Kramer needed a big guy to carry all these people in and set up the traps because
Yeah.
he is very feeble and has cancer.
Yes.
And again, I'm gonna keep bringing this up with Saw 10 and Saw
Uh,
11, which is probably going to be a direct sequel to Saw 10. We have a very finite amount of time with John Kramer in the
yes.
canon. Like you can't just
Mhm.
keep adding stuff that he's doing into this canon.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
I'm pretty sure he only had like 5 or 6 months to live. I think
Yeah.
we that was established at least in Saw 10.
Hmm.
Um, that's in Saw 10 at the beginning, he has like 3 months left of that, 5 to 6 months. And just a finite amount of time that he trains Hoffman, trains Amanda, builds all these traps, divorces his wife.
Yeah, and that's why he has all these traps happening at the same time too.
Well,
He's
I
like, I
guess
gotta
that
do
makes
all this
sense.
again.
Maybe Saw 10 is fixing this and why everything is happening at the same time, actually.
Yeah, maybe
But
because I'm like, it's
we
confusing.
do, we just have this finite amount of time where it is
Yeah.
actually John Kramer setting
Hmm.
these traps, creating these traps. He's the one in charge. It's not just his legacy that people are trying to continue.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, Strahm is stalking Jill Tuck, and she puts in a complaint about it, which tips off Strahm's boss, who's like, "Oh, Strahm is fucking losing it after surviving his jigsaw trap. I guess we should keep a close eye on him."
Yeah, Bluetooth
And
man.
finally, Strahm finds like where the current test is going on, or
Mhm.
he finds some room that
Yeah.
tests are going on,
Yeah.
and he confronts Hoffman in this room. There's a box filled with glass,
Mhm.
and he starts listening to the cassette. Doesn't listen to the cassette, finish the cassette. He shoves Hoffman in the box,
Mhm.
um, and Hoffman's trapped, and he's very smug, because the door locks automatically, and he tells Strom to finish the tape, and it's the same tape from the beginning where Jigsaw repeats, "If you choose this path, it'll lead to your death."
Yeah.
And really all he had to do was drop it, and he wouldn't be dead right now.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And
Exactly.
the walls of this room start closing in, and Hoffman's little glass coffin sinks into a safety hole,
Yep.
and we see Strom get a nice compound fracture as he is slowly squashed to death.
Yep. Rest in
And
peace, Strom. You fucked around and you found out, buddy.
yep. And even had he survived that trap, we find out his boss
Brain.
finds the survivors of the main trap that was going
Uh-huh.
on, the B plot trap.
Yeah.
And he sees that he puts the pieces together. Oh, Strom is the jigsaw killer. He's lost his shit altogether.
Yeah,
Um,
Hoffman puts his Strom's like phone there and he like
y-
frames him for everything. And he's
yeah.
like, oh, this phone being here obviously means Strom did everything because he's been acting so suspect lately.
Yeah, so Hoffman had a backup plan all along that if somehow Strahm survived, uh, he would be going down for the Jigsaw killings or
Yeah, geez,
the
Hoffman was just
imitation killings.
10 steps ahead of Strahm this whole time. Mr. FBI like totally sucked.
Hmm. Which
Damn.
it makes me sad that Amanda was never Jigsaw's true successor. I feel like that was
Yeah,
very mean to her.
I
But Hoffman is a pretty good follow-up.
know.
I mean, he doesn't get the philosophy. He uses these traps as punishment and only
Hmm.
punishment,
Yeah.
not if you value your life, if you care about your life, you're going to survive.
Yeah, no redemption, just punishment because he's a that kind of a guy.
Yeah, he's a cop, and when I say a cab, that means that includes Hoffman.
Hoffman, yes.
I want to
He's a very bad cop.
I want to see Hoffman's body cam footage.
Oh yeah, but I bet you he doesn't even wear it.
Oh
Bet
yeah,
you.
he's definitely the kind to just turn it off if like.
Yep, because he got like promoted at the beginning of the movie, so I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, he can like do special stuff and have special privileges.
Yeah.
But he did tell Jigsaw, he was like, hey, Amanda will fail you.
Hmm.
And that was in like the plot for three. Yeah. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, no, she won't. And he's like, yeah, she will. The fuck. Does at that time does Hoffman like have put something in a drawer, like the manila envelope? Like he's handed stuff and he collects all the people, but Hoffman knows that Amanda had
Yeah.
was gonna let her emotions get the best of her. Fuck
Yeah,
shit
he
up.
did. And I think he saw that John Kramer had a soft spot for Amanda and that John Kramer was letting his emotions get the best of him too. Or at least
Mhm.
Hoffman thought it was all just a trap for Amanda at the end of Saw
Yeah.
3.
Yes, it was.
It was her final test to see if she was actually worthy
Yeah,
of
she
being his.
failed.
But like, what if she was? Would he then say, actually, you're not working alone. This is my good friend Mark Hoffman.
Yeah, this is a cop. I mean, I bet you're wondering how I get all these people in here without your help. I mean, it's not me, Amanda. No, it's not. Yeah, so they could have been buds, but I think it's safe to say that like without any spoilers that we kind of explore that a little bit more in the upcoming movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know the believability of these traps is just going to get worse. I know what happens at the start of Saw 3D with the traps set up in the middle of the day, in the middle of a busy street, in
Storefront. Yeah.
storefront.
Yeah. And everyone's just chilling, like, and they're like videoing and they're like, don't video, call the police. Yeah, 3D is wild. I think that's Saw six,
Oh, so it's
seven,
coming up.
five. Is it five? I like
No,
literally
we
Googled
just
this
we just
yesterday
watched
saying,
5.
okay, no, it's not this one then. I think it's like coming in like a movie or two, is Saw 3D.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the story in a nutshell. Jill Tuck is back, but it's really just part of the setup for Strom. We don't get any more Jigsaw specific background. We just get how Hoffman got pulled into this whole situation.
Okay. Yeah, we do. And Saw 7 is, or AKA Saw the Final Chapter is Saw 3D.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
we have
Why does a movie
Spiral.
need 3 different titles?
I don't know. Then we have Jigsaw, then Spiral. Then I know there literally three different titles because it's Saw 7, but it's called Saw the Final Chapter, but it's actually Saw 3D.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little confusing on the brain, but yeah. Okay, anyway. Let's
All
clarify
right.
that. Yeah.
So I've got a couple of production notes just going into Saw 5.
Cool.
So this is the first time since the first film that Boseman was not the director.
Yeah.
Stepping into the role was David Hackle, and this was his directorial debut.
Oh,
However, he was not new to the franchise. He was a production designer for Saw 2, 3, and 4, and then a second unit director for Saw 3 and 4.
cool.
And I think the production quality of this one is so much better than 4.
Yeah, agreed.
Just, I mean, even looking at it, not just dissecting the story and how it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It
This looks
looks
better.
better. They didn't go heavy-handed on the transitions,
Oh,
which,
yeah, thank goodness there's like none.
yeah, speaking of transitions, I just want to shout out, he'll never listen. I don't even know if he's on the internet anymore. He hasn't uploaded a YouTube video in 15 years, but while I was putting together TikToks this week, I was like, I
Yeah.
wonder if there's just like some clips of the transitions in Saw
And you found
4.
them?
I've this one guy, Dave Rainbow 6, uploaded a compilation of all the transitions 15 years ago to YouTube.
Oh my God, I have to
So
watch it.
so
That's so funny.
shout out to Dave Rainbow 6 for putting that together so I could use it for my TikTok.
Yes, that is awesome.
Because that was just great. And I'm glad that people have been talking about the unnecessary
Yeah,
transitions for 15 years. That it's
dude,
been
yeah.
15 years since Saw 4 even. That's fucking insane.
It is insane, dude.
Um uh Pre-production for this began in 2007, so like immediately after Saw 4 probably. In fact,
Yeah,
probably even before Saw 4 released.
yeah.
Um
Cool.
and they only had about a month to get the script done. Hackle wanted to bring a more emotional element to the script so the audience could really care about the characters, and I agree, and I think he did a better job than with Saw 3 and then
Yeah,
continuing into Saw 4, because I did think the plot with the people going through the traps was very compelling because we didn't
yeah,
know what brought them all together. We just know that they all combined did something bad, but none of them know the individual roles each person played in the crime they committed.
yeah. That is very interesting and very unique.
And just the characters were better written, better developed. Um,
Yeah.
like even though we had been with Rig since the first one, I in 5 movies, I'm probably not going to be able to tell you who Rig was.
Right, yeah.
I could
Just
barely do it in Saw 4. I guess he was in the previous 3 films.
yeah, he was just but he was just like a SWAT guy,
Yeah,
you know. And that's it. And he was just like in the trio with it was like Rig, Carrie, and then Eric
yeah. And
Matthews.
I don't have any notes on why Bosman didn't return, but just after
Yeah.
Saw 4 and how messy it was and convoluted it was, just trying to get to that, oh, big twist, this is happening at the same time as the last
Ugh,
movie.
yeah, geez,
Um,
it's exhausting to learn
I'm
that.
I'm glad he took a break in that we got a fresh
Yeah.
set of eyes behind the camera directing, because this one was just so much better to get through as a
Yeah,
movie.
definitely. It was.
It was good. And a very interesting note that just blew my mind that
Yeah.
these 2 movies came out at the same time. Saw 5 was released on October 24th, 2008,
Uh-huh.
my freshman year of high school. In its
Yeah.
opening weekend, Saw 5 grossed 30 million, over $30 million in 3,000 theaters across the United States and Canada, ranking number 2 at the box office. Can you guess what the number 1 film of that year was, or
Dude,
that weekend was?
2008? I
Yeah.
have no idea. What was it?
High School Musical 3 senior year.
What the fuck?
I know.
Oh,
And it's
Saul
so
was so close to beating that out, man.
not really. High School
Oh
Musical
no.
3 grossed over 56 million.
Oh my
And
God. Okay, never mind.
that is so crazy to me because I went to see High School Musical 3 in theaters. It was a great experience. Highly recommend.
Damn, but we didn't see Saw 5. Instead, you
I
saw High School Musical.
I was 14. They wouldn't have sold me a ticket to Saw 5, and I
No,
didn't
they
really
wouldn't
care
have.
for the Saw movies
I
back
know,
then.
right? Hey,
Um,
I'm on IMDb and like the trailer keeps playing. The trailer's like pretty cool, so I could
mhm.
see how this could bring a lot of people out. It's
Yeah, and
cool.
it's just
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting that High School
It
Musical beat it
is.
out, because October 24th, that would have been Halloween weekend.
Yeah, like this, it says like this Halloween in the trailer. It says this Halloween
So
belongs to Saw 5.
so the fact that a horror movie, not even just the fifth Saw installment,
Yeah.
came in second on
On
Halloween
Halloween
weekend is so
weekend.
crazy.
It
And I mean,
is.
I guess I could kind of get it since Saw 4 was so not good and we're in the fifth installment, that maybe the hype had just died
Dude.
down and a lot of people were like, I'll just wait and see if it's good.
Yeah,
And it
absolutely.
and it 2008, people were still flocking to the theaters on weekends. It's like I miss that time where there were still lines at the box office, like just out the door to see the new releases. So people were going to see movies. It's not like now where they keep trying to get people back into theaters by releasing blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster. People don't have the money for that, but
Right.
they did in 2008, kind of, I guess, recession,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
still, that the fact that any horror movie wasn't number one Halloween weekend is so crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that is crazy. And it's just interesting that they had High School Musical come out for Halloween too. Um, but yeah, I guess there was just way more young kids
Yeah.
available to go to the movies, which
And
makes
I think
sense.
it
Yeah.
it makes sense, and it's a reminder of just what a cultural behemoth the High School Musical franchise was,
Yes. Yeah, it
and
does,
the
doesn't it?
lasting impact that it has had on our
Wow.
culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've never seen those movies, but like I know that they're popular. Like I know how popular they became. Even working at Hot Topic, it was a
Hmm.
thing, you know,
Yeah.
no matter what.
It gave
Wow.
us, I mean, I guess it didn't really give us Zac Efron. He was doing stuff before it, but it gave us Zac Efron.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? It
Yeah.
absolutely put him on the map, huh? Um, we should look into like what was in the box office for like the other Saw movies.
Yeah, because I think that's a really interesting fact that High School Musical beat
Yeah.
Saw on Halloween weekend.
I know. How about that? That's oh, that made me pissed, but like looking back at it, like it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Saw five because like the fifth movie in a franchise that can like really like some people might not like care to even go watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
And
can kind of see
especially
it.
with
Yeah.
how quickly they were releasing these movies year after year after year, like bam, 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 since
Yeah.
2004, I could totally see franchise fatigue.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
especially, um, at this point, Saw has had the same longevity as Halloween, Friday the 13th, um, Nightmare on Elm Street, just other horror franchises that have had 7 to 8 sequels. And you do see this franchise fatigue happen with them,
Hmm.
where, the quality of the movie continues to go down. We saw that with 4, how just not well done it was. And people just kind of stop caring, the people who saw 1 in theaters in 2004 have jobs now and might
Hmm.
not give a shit anymore. It's like, oh, what else are they going to do?
Right. Exactly. Oh man.
Yeah, just a fun fact.
That
Other
is a
production notes I had, just this movie looked and was better paced than Saw 4.
yeah. Oh, it definitely was. I feel like software was like super clunky and just like the way they tried to fit in that like the two different timelines, it just didn't work. It just made us more confused.
Yeah, and it just felt very crowded. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it felt like they only wrote it around the idea of this twist, but also to kill the remaining players from the first trilogy,
Yeah.
like Rig and Detective Matthews and Jeff.
Mhm.
Jeff, the most iconic character in the Saw franchise. But you didn't need to like completely reset the board. You could have not brought Detective Matthews back just yet. You could have
Mhm.
waited, because like I can't believe Donnie Wahlberg even did that role in that movie, because it was nothing. He was just on a block of ice for an hour and a half.
Yeah, maybe he just either he loves horror and saw or he like just needed money or both,
Maybe.
because he's not Mark
Yeah,
Wahlberg.
he's not Marky Mark.
Damn, no. How do
He's
you
not,
do that? It's crazy.
but yeah, no.
Yeah.
One other thing I noticed was the soundtrack, the like, oh, the just like the soundtrack CD got a 7.9 out of 10 on IGM,
Uh-huh.
because of the cohesion, and the tracks have a unifying dark undercurrent that makes for an electric, shocked, jolting mixtape with a dark intent. And I agree. Saw always has a pretty solid soundtrack.
It does.
If
It does.
if
The songs are badass.
if nothing else, it has a solid soundtrack that just you hear it
And you're just like, oh
and
shit.
and you know it's Saw. Like,
Yeah, you like strap yourself and you're like, okay,
I
it
think
transports you.
that's your first challenge when trying to create an iconic horror franchise is giving them
Yeah.
a theme song, something that people are just going to recognize.
Oh yeah. And then when it's so good that you can just easily use it over and over and tweak it a little bit. Oh, so
Yeah.
cool. So cool. It makes the twist cooler, even if the twist is like kind of lame. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, at least I'm listening to the
Because
full song.
once Hello Zep starts up,
Yep.
you know
Oh
you're
yeah.
in for a ride.
You're like, oh, what I missed. Here comes the crazy twist. Was I paying attention? You're like, oh shit. So
Yeah.
I hope that in the upcoming movies, like that happens again for you, at least in one movie, Sam, where you're like, oh shit, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember, but hopefully there's at least one more,
Yeah.
one more good
Um,
one.
but yeah, compared to Saw 4, which I charitably
Yeah.
gave a meh, I believe. I do
Yeah.
think this one is an oh yeah, that fucked me up.
Oh, great.
It had a good twist. I liked the plot with the people trapped. They didn't try
Yeah.
and make it like deeper than it was. It was just a compelling story with just them. And then
Yeah.
you also had Strahm setting up his own demise,
Hmm.
and the squashing was good. If
Yeah,
not a
I
little,
just, yeah.
if not a little, hard to believe. But still, the
It's
squashing was
crazy.
good.
The squashing was good. It's just Strom. I feel like when he like his friend got injured or died, like the girl, he just like went off the rails. But like, why? Like, dude, chill.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just just relax, collect your evidence after your bereavement.
dude, seriously, like you could get yourself killed. You literally tell the killer that I know it's you.
Uh-huh.
The heck, man. Oh God. All right. I'm
Yeah,
so
no.
glad that you graded it that way, Sam. Awesome. I'm glad that the fifth one was better than the fourth one. That rarely happens.
Yeah. No, I thought this one was really good.
Nice. Sweet. Well, I agree. I am going to also rate it and oh yeah, that fucked me up. And like I was waiting. I wasn't sure what movie it was gonna be where we saw a whole lot of Hoffman, but I was like, yes, this is Hoffman's intro. So I was like, yay, love to watch
It's his
him.
little moment.
I know. He's great. I wish he was in more stuff, but I feel like no one really picks up on him.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, um the real horror of the movie would be I feel like the plot you described for these five strangers and like just doing shady real estate stuff just to like get a hold of buildings and like getting rid of people at any cost.
Hmm.
So, who knows how often that could really be happening. I don't know.
I think it happens very
Often.
frequently in
Oh
human
yeah.
history.
Dang, yeah. So there's that. Um, well, this is an interesting thing with Hoffman is that like he has no wife or girlfriend, but he had a sister that he loved so much. Um, and then she died in like it seems like a pretty like horrific way. I think it was sort of like a sex crime or something like that. But like wanting to kill someone so much that you like do a copycat thing
Hmm.
and you like build a pit and a pendulum thing. So it's wild.
Yeah.
Um, being like an FBI agent who is like being really sloppy because you're upset because your partner like died.
Hmm.
I suppose that could happen. I
Um,
did. Oh, here's like something that we didn't mention is that Jill receives a box and a video from John with stuff inside. Um, so like still having like an emotional connection to your ex-husband, although he was a killer, but you still really loved him when he was before, and getting a mysterious box because we don't know what's in it yet.
yeah. Um,
And there's really nothing else. Nothing really else realistic
yeah.
happens,
No, nothing super
honestly.
realistic. I guess
Yeah, dude.
having to give yourself a tracheotomy
Oh
with a
my
pen.
God. Being a child and having both of your parents die because it's their like for their
Their own
own
fault.
faults. Yeah. And then be like, oh, my parents are dead. and now what? So maybe that.
Yeah.
And that's that. So that's all. Not a whole lot outside of the two main plots here, two main storylines.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Any other thoughts before I wrap it up?
I don't think so.
All right, cool. Oh yeah, that fucked me up. Yay, Saw 5. Next, Saw 6. Cool. Well, thanks for tuning into our episode. We are the Real Horror Show podcast. Our host is Sam Odie, and I'm the co-host, Stormy Skies. Podcast was created by Sam Odie and Stormy Skies and is directed, edited, and produced by Sam Odie. You can find Sam on Instagram at Sam is Writing Stuff, and you can find Stormy on Instagram at The Stormy Skies. You can find the Real Horror Show podcast on Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes, Google Play Store, Pandora, and anywhere you like to stream your podcasts. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you're always in the know when a new episode comes out. Follow us on social media. You can find the Real Horror Show podcast on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, and yes, Twitter too. We do more than just podcasts. We love to write and have plenty of great movie reviews and essays, all of which can be found on our website, realhorrorshow.com. We love hearing from our listeners. You can ask us a question or send us a movie request to review by DMing us on social media, or you can even send us an email at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. Call for guests. Do you love horror movies? Are you a podcaster, a content creator, a movie lover, or anyone in between who is a listener to our show? We would love to have you as a guest on one of our episodes. Reach out to us via social media DM or email us at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Our podcast episodes featuring guests are all listed on our website, realhorrorshow.com. We are so thankful for all of our listeners. You are the life force of our podcast, and we wouldn't really exist without you. Thank you all for making this podcast real and supporting us as we record every week. You can support us in different ways, such as liking and sharing our podcast episodes on social media. Giving us a review will help the podcast more than you know, and will help other listeners find it too. You can also donate to Real Horror Show by visiting our support page on our website, where you can make a one-time donation via PayPal, buy us a coffee with the Buy Us a Coffee button, or explore our very interesting Amazon wish list. Any other pertinent news?
I don't think so this week.
All right, cool. Yeah. In the meantime, watch the next episode of The Fall of the House of Usher, which is, I think, episode 6.
I think it's Telltale Heart time.
Yeah, Telltale Heart, whatever's after the Black Cat episode. Watch that one. So that'll be fun.
Read the corresponding Edgar Allan Poe story.
Yeah, I've not been reading at all. I'm just like going off of memory.
It's fine.
Straight up, I feel like we've read this so much in our youth, I might not even have to reread it.
Like Telltale Heart. Oh yeah, like
hell yeah.
The Raven and Telltale Heart.
Dude, yep. I just
those are
know.
Yeah.
Classics. That's, and then when you're done doing that, go ahead and watch Saw 6. Yeah. We're moving right along.
Heck
Cool.
yeah.
We're going pretty fast. So anyway, our outro song is called Creepy Doll by Jonathan Coulton, and he can be found at jonathancoulton.com. Thank you, fuck off, and have a swell evening. This is Real Horror Show signing off.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I love the creepy doll that always follows